Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleeping dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. This evening's dream features references to Lazarus. So we'll find out, and this has happened twice in the dreamer's life, and we'll find out a bit more about that as we go along. So in this dream, the dreamer reports that he was waiting to attend a martial arts class as a guest, and one of the masters who was present at the event began the class talking about tradition and initiation. And he also makes a remark that seems to be directed towards the dreamer about the house of Lazarus. The other students in the class didn't seem to understand what the reference was, but the dreamer felt that he did understand. From that little scenario, the dreamer is trying to find a parking space on the street before going to work. After driving around and trying to find a space, he finally finds one that has a parking meter, and figures that he'll spend about £10, which is about $8, over the 7 hours that the car will be parked in meter fees. And finally, the dreamer reports that he was waiting to attend a concert by the Beastie Boys and was undecided as to whether he should go or not, as the tickets were quite expensive. And there ends the dream. So what is going on, and what are these obscure references to Lazarus about? Well, I have to preface this is that this is the second time, excuse me, that the dreamer has had an experience or revelation of some kind that has been related to Lazarus. The first experience happened some years ago, and this is a second time that Lazarus has been resurrected from the dead, so to speak, in the dreamer's life. Why now? Well, let's start to break the dream down and see if we can find out some clues as to what's going on. The first is that the dreamer is in a class and is perhaps in waking life in learning mode in some form or other. And I would ask you if the dreamer is perhaps going through a reevaluation or shifting of awareness, of knowledge, just what is going on, that there seems to be a learning process that's going on. You have one of the masters at this class actually giving a speech or talk about the importance of tradition and initiation into this particular martial arts. And he emphasizes this and mentions Lazarus, the house of Lazarus, during this talk. And I would ask here, what does Lazarus represent for the dreamer? Not just in this dream, but in a prior dream from years ago. What did and what does Lazarus represent for the dreamer? To use the metaphor evoked by the dream, what is being raised from the dead, so to speak, in the dreamer's life? What is being reevaluated? What is reappearing? Excuse me. Could it be a tradition or way of thinking that is being resurrected? Is it a direct religious reference in terms of a renewal or rebirth or of some kind of attitude or perspective in terms of religion or spirituality? The other thing here is that the dreamer is claiming or believes that understands the teachings that the master was giving during his talk, whereas the others didn't. And why is that? I would ask the dreamer. Why is it that the dreamer alone is able to understand this message? And if that being the case, what does this message mean to the dreamer? What is it about the master's words that the dreamer resonated with the dreamer? Then, jumping from that scene, we go to a car parking. And the dreamer is round, looking around for a space before going to work, to park his car. And there is finally finds one space, or put in a different way, one way to go. What's interesting about this little section to me is the figures that are used, the numbers. The 10 pounds, which equates in money terms of about $8 and change. But in numerology, the number 10 or number 1 represents new beginnings. And the 10 in numerology, if you add the numbers together, the digits together, 1 plus 0 equals 1. So it represents 1. It represents a new start, a new beginning. And I would ask the dreamer here, where in the dreamer's life, in waking life, that there seems to be a shift or a change, and a new start. The number 7 can also be considered significant, in that if you break it down, the world was created in 6 days, and on the 7th day, plus 1, the world was done and the Lord rested. And I would ask here if there's, again, a shift, particularly in the dreamer's inner life or spiritual life, where there's a sense of completion, on resting on the 7th day. And maybe the reference may not be immediately visible or apparent to the dreamer, but there's apparently some kind of shifting going on, and moving towards completion of that shift is going on. And it just brought to mind, for me, the analogy that, you're driving around through life, until you arrive at the one place, the one space that is right for the dreamer. And I would ask the dreamer here, has the dreamer actually reached such a stage in their life currently where they feel a sense of fulfillment or completion in some way? Then we go from that little vignette to the concert. Now, the dreamer is in a bit of conflict with regard, should he go to see the Beastie Boys or not. My question is, what do the Beastie Boys represent for the dreamer? And even the name, not just as the name of the group, but what the name Beastie Boys evokes for the dreamer. What is it that's beastie or beastly about about these boys, and how does that resonate for the dreamer? And why the indecision about going? There's a concern about the cost, and I would use that again as a kind of play on words from the unconscious, as what activity, as personified by the Beastie Boys, would be costly to the dreamer if he makes the decision to go, to indulge himself and go to this concert. What does that evoke for the dreamer? Is there a situation in the waking life where making certain decisions could be costly in some form? So we have to backtrack a little bit here to the dreamer's prior dream about Lazarus, and as this current dream is actually a kind of return to the past for the dreamer. Now, in the first experience that the dreamer had with Lazarus, he was an exchange student many years ago in South America, and through a series of strange events, he was actually may have been arrested unjustly, and it was through a gentleman by the name of Lazarus, as well as other coincidences, such as Bibles opening to talking about with verses about Lazarus when the Bible is open, and other things, that there was a real sense for the dreamer of perhaps something either being resurrected in terms of his freedom and not being arrested, but also something being reborn and renewed. And it's interesting that after many years, this dream or this vision of Lazarus has returned. And I would ask the dreamer again, what is the significance that Lazarus has reappeared, has been revived and resurrected in the dreamer's life? Is there some new thing or something that being resurrected and given new life in the dreamer's life, in waking life at this moment? What's going on? And what, in this present context, what does Lazarus mean for the dreamer? So there you have it. You have Lazarus being raised from the dead several times. And there also seems to be an indication that there's something being resurrected or renewed in the life of the dreamer. And the dreamer has to do a little bit more work to understand what that message is. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a fantastic evening and rest of the week. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.